What's up, guys? My name is Justin. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are back with a very special member of the iRacing community. We are back today having a conversation with Mr. Karl Samson, one of the best iRacers on the entire service, and we are going to talk about a very special occasion or monument that he has recently accomplished. We're going to kind of break it down, talk about what it took to reach it, and kind of pick his brain for how insane it is that he's finished this accomplishment. So Karl, thank you so much for taking the time to be with me today. How are you?
I'm good, glad to be here.
So, just to summarize this very briefly, you've won in all the cars, which we'll get into now, and there are some tricks to that iRacing is broken, but we'll get to that in a moment. But I don't think people realize how incredibly rare of a accomplishment this is on the sim. I think that as far as I know, there are only like 2 other people besides you to have won in more than like 100 cars. Is that correct?
I'm not sure how it works, but I know that a couple of people have, or possibly more, have won the award for winning in all the cars. But I think the most recent would have been several years ago when the total car count might have been sort of more around 30 to 50 rather than the just over 100 that it is now.
Right, so there are what, 107 total, and you've won in 102 of the 107 or something like that. Is that correct?
According to iRacing and the award, there's 102. I've won in 103, but I still have 4 left by my count and 5 left by their count, because they still include the Jetta, which doesn't exist in official racing anymore.
Sure, and then obviously you've won in a couple of legacy cars and stuff that we talked about that isn't counted anymore, but what do you have left to go on your list?
So what I have left is the Mercedes Formula 1, I have the oval sprint car, the dirt wingless sprint car, and the dirt UMP modified.
So I guess, in my mind, this is an absolutely amazing accomplishment. This is something that in my opinion, should be really, really celebrated as one of the incredible things you can do on this sim that comes with having a platform like this, like we have. Are you really proud of this, or is this just kind of a thing that you've been working towards that you've now reached as a checkbox type of thing?
I'm pleased to have got there, but then it's somewhat annoying that I've sort of got there on one hand in terms of getting to the target that iRacing set, but then it's annoying that I still have a few
sure.
outstanding, that I know still outstanding, and I will try and tick them off. Yeah, it is good, but it's I didn't actually think I'd get there, because I started this about 18 months ago. At that stage I'd won in 30 cars, and I thought, I'd sort of achieved what I wanted to achieve. I wasn't going to be doing any seriously competitive stuff. I'd reached whatever iRating goals I'd set myself, and thought, what can I do to make this interesting? So I just thought, well, this will keep me going forever, I won't get to that. But then I've just kept going and going, and I've ended up doing a lot better than I thought I would.
Sure. So I recently reached out to Tyler Hudson, as you know, to ask him about the status of the Jetta for this award, and I guess kind of along with that, hopefully we get clarification on the list total, whether that's excluding other cars, including some other cars. I assume all the new ones are just automatically thrown in there, but I guess we don't really know at this point because it's so messed up at this point. In your mind,
I can assure you that new ones are included every season.
So we may just be missing the Jetta as one that counts that shouldn't.
Yes.
Okay. So even if we got the Jetta changed and/or got it included in like Ringmeister and you were able to win in it, then since you've won in more cars than the requirement needs, do you feel like in your mind that you have to win them all to earn the award, or would you be happy just to have the award thing pop up as colored and completed, even if you still have a couple of cars left, because iRacing can't count?
So like, regardless, I would carry on and try and win in all the cars. I'd like the award purely for just getting the award done, but in terms of, they set a requirement to win in 102 cars, I did that, but I'm still gonna work on the remaining cars, just to satisfy my own curiosity, I suppose, to see if I can do it all.
So you have been on iRacing, correct me if I'm wrong now, what, about 4 years? Is that correct? 3 years?
No, it's about a month or so over 6 years.
6 years, okay. So like mid 2018 roughly.
Yeah, late. It was start of season 4, 2018.
Okay, so you've been doing this quite a while, not quite as long as myself, but a long time. You're not new to the sim by any means. Do these type of achievements make your time on the sim feel like it's gone faster over these 6 years, or slow down because you're still aiming at goals, even if they're not the goals that people typically set on iRacing?
It's sort of an interesting one where some things that feel like they happened a couple of months ago actually happened sort of 3 to 5 years ago, and then other things that I feel like they happened 1 or 2 years ago, like happen, yeah, like they happen recently. So it's time gets distorted when you get into this hobby too deep, I think.
Sure, I totally understand that. I mean, I can name off a lot of times in the solstice days, especially my early solstice days, races I threw away and feel like I should have won. And I look back now, I'm like, wow, that was in 2015 or whatever. And you're like, okay, I really have been doing this too long, maybe. I can remember things like that, but it does kind of ground you and give you data points to look back on.
Yeah, it can be quite disorientating at times when you think something happened, yeah, like I say, 1 or 2 seasons ago, and it turns out it was several years ago. Yeah, it's hard to, and some things, they feel like they're just yesterday in terms of how fresh either the good or the bad are.
So I need to stress this to the people watching that may not be familiar with you on the sim, just because being in the Australian, New Zealand time zone, some of our regular North American people or people that primarily race oval may not be familiar with you. Karl talks extremely modestly about himself. He's very humble, but he is one of the best all-arounders on the entire sim of iRacing, and one of the very few people I'd consider better than myself as an all-arounder. So don't let him fool you. I'm sure that soon we'll probably have another video, you and I, talking about you checking off all the tracks, excuse me, and how you've changed your mind, you decide you're going to participate in one of the pro series. But again, I just want to highlight, this is not a normal occurrence, Karl. I know that you're going to tell me that it's just a thing that you do when you're very happy to be nearing this achievement and everything, but please, give me your honest thoughts. This is a very special thing that you're accomplishing, even if it's, you're not there yet and the goal's not finished and the job's not done, as Kobe Bryant might say or whatever, but this is something that most of the people that currently are on iRacing can't achieve, whether it be through financial reasons or most of them just skill. This is a very strange skill set that you've achieved out here, and it's something that I think is very, very special.
Yes and no. So I'd say that there's sort of multiple parts to it. Obviously, financially, there is a fair amount of outlay to get all the content. But in terms of skill, I would appreciate that it's not something that everyone on the service is going to be able to do. But I think I'm in a sort of a unique skill bracket where if you have slightly more skill than me, then generally those are the guys that are prioritizing certain licenses or certain series in order to actually qualify for pro series, and or coaching, or earning some money from this hobby, and aiming at serious competitions, whereas I'm probably at the upper end of being unable to reach that. So that then leaves me to aim for goals that no one else is even aiming for, like this one. I think there's a reasonable amount of people on the service who could achieve this goal if they so desired, and could do so a lot quicker than I did. But they are, busy with the Coke series or or the Porsche series or one of the other Pro series. So it's that was another of the factors, and I think the last factor is the Australia-New Zealand time zone. You know, if you happen to be in Europe or in America, you know, most of your races, there's going to be multiple splits, there's going to be high softs, whereas in my time zone, there's a lot of races that either won't go official, or if they do, they are single split, very low soft. So if you're somewhat competent and time it right, you can sneak some wins that you wouldn't have any right to if you were in a different time zone.
Sure, that's perfectly fair. I know it is a very long list of the 100+ cars that you've managed to win in. Do you have a couple that you really enjoyed the chase of trying to get a win, or the satisfaction of finally achieving it, and then maybe a couple that you hated or were just complete miserable to find a split, or you just hated driving the thing even when you did win?
So the two that I was probably happiest with, the Lotus 49 to me is an incredibly difficult car to drive, and I managed to, 1 week a season they go to an oval, and I'm terrible on ovals, but this was at Milwaukee, and which is reasonably flat. It's not sort of a traditional oval, so it was more like a road course oval, and I just happened to find just enough speed to win that race, but it was brutally difficult to hold on to the car for the whole race, and to tick that off after sort of having no real idea how I was going to do it was really, really pleasing. Another one would be the Silver Crown car. Again, I'm terrible at ovals, but once a year that car goes to Watkins Glen for a race. So I essentially had one shot at it, and got it's a Watkins Glen, it's the Cup circuit, so it's, one or two corners, and it's very draft heavy. But I got very lucky that I snuck pole by a tenth or two, and the cars immediately behind me decided to fight with each other instead of staying on my tail. So to get that, and sort of the one chance I had to tick it off, was very pleasing. In terms of cars that I really couldn't stand or didn't enjoy having to drive to win, the V8 supercars to me are just horrific. So having to time, and I'm very bad in them, so having to be very, very patient and get the exact right low soft field to sneak a win in both of those was very, because the other thing to point out is that it's, like with the V8 supercars, there's a Ford and a Holden. You have to win in both. It's not just one, it's both. So doing that was pretty rough. Also don't enjoy the Formula V. That was very pleased to see the back of that. Just sort of looking through all the cars now to see if there's any others that stand out as being really bad. I think that's probably about it, really. I mean, most of the cars, you generally find there's something redeeming or good about them. There's fun to be had in most series. Probably another couple of favourites would be the GT1 cars. I think they just sound, look, drive just so nice. So more people should be driving them.
So you're not at all excited for the Gen 3 supercar release, I would assume, then, at that point?
That is, yeah, well, hey, hopefully they are good fun to drive, but the current V8 supercars I find to be terrible to drive. If they are good to drive, that would be great. I mean, they'll obviously get a lot of use down in my part of the world in leagues, and potentially in officials for the first few weeks. But yeah, I'm not bubbling with excitement for them, that's for sure.
Sure. So now that you've won in this many cars, obviously the natural question to follow up is the track list. You have, what, roughly 20 or so tracks to go on the track list?
So again, this is one where iRacing's count is a little off. So on the award, I've got 115 out of 130, but on my list, I still have 19 to go. 18 of them are ovals, so that's my weak spot. It's the license that is my worst. So just going to chip away at it slowly and see if I can get my skill level up a bit and be able to win on some of these larger ovals where I'll be honest, I generally have no idea at this point in time how to drive or to be competitive. So that's just another thing to learn and get better at.
Sure.
That's what.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I find with iRacing in general. There's always something else you can be getting better at or learning. You know, whether it's strategy, whether it's technique, whether it's lines, whether it's, you know, there's always something that you can be sort of learning for the first time and getting better at, and just genuinely just trying to improve yourself.
Sure, but I mean, knowing your drive and determination and your skill at the sim, inevitably you're going to accomplish that at some point. It just may take longer to wrap your head around that part of the iRacing sim and the learning curve. More than road racing obviously comes more naturally to you, but once you inevitably finish that, even if it's several years down the line from now, based on your trajectory of how fast you've accomplished everything else, 6 years is an unbelievable amount of time to be as good at this as you are. Even some pros take longer than that to reach the Pro Series, but what would be next for you then? I mean, you've accomplished just about everything there is to accomplish, and some made-up stuff that you've invented for yourself along the way. What could possibly come next?
Good question. I think in terms of what comes next, I think the remaining 18 oval tracks are probably going to take quite a lot longer than what you might envision. So it's a case of getting better at that and just ticking those off. And every new car and track that comes onto the system, I'll still be getting them. I'll still be trying to tick them off just for my own satisfaction. So a side quest that I started once I sort of made enough headway on both of these lists was to win in series that I hadn't won in. So according to there is a website that tracks that, and currently I am the overall leader on that, but I've still got, I think, 40-ish series I haven't won in, so or 39 according to my list. But you know, there's a lot there that I can dive into, get better, learn how to win, learn how to drive those cars a bit better, etc. So that's another thing to keep me going. Other than that, just find combos that I enjoy and just drive, really.
Humble as always, but it still boggles my mind that we've looked at that list, and I've done some minor chasing of that series list as well, and I was pretty proud of my 50 or so that I've had on there, but considering you're another 35 or 40 ahead, that is just, it never ceases to amaze me, the numbers that you've assembled, even if they're numbers that 95% people don't care about. They're still incredible numbers, so I admire the heck out of you for that. Is there anything else that you would like to point out or highlight or show appreciation for what we have this time?
Yeah, just in terms of sort of where I came from, when I started, I was like everyone that starts on iRacing. I thought I was going to be amazing. I've got so much natural ability and I'm going to kill this. The first 6 months I was horrendous. I was I wasn't a menace on the track, but I just was inconsistent. I was slow. I was multiple seconds off the pace on road. There was nothing I was good at, and it was very humbling. And then I sort of realized that not many people were doing dirt road, and so if I put some effort into that, it was easy to be good at that compared to average because you were competing against less people. But what I managed to run into when I started that was some really, really talented guys who taught me an awful lot about how to drive rallycross, which then raised my skill level a lot, which then transferred to the other licenses. So yeah, I'd definitely like to acknowledge Matt Madigan, Kevin Carlisle, Jeff Applegren, Terry Rennett for the work they put into turning me from hopeless into someone that was borderline world championship level in rallycross. And then as a result of that, I then sort of passed on some of my info to an Aussie chap by the name of Bo Albert, who was a world championship driver on road, and he was trying to make it in rallycross. I helped him a little bit, but then in return he helped me a lot in terms of getting better at the road side of things, showed me what it was to practice properly, and just various technical bits and pieces that helped me get to where I am now. So, and there's been numerous other people that have helped along the way. And what I'd say to anyone out there is that no matter where you're at, that if there's any part of anything that you wanted to get better at, generally the better people do want to help you and are more than willing to help you and assist you to get better, because usually someone's helped them get to that level as well. There's a lot of good free stuff out there in terms of, you know, if you're into oval, Justin Yee, or if you're into road, Swaleo, Almeida, both of them give excellent tips on technique, which I'd sort of had to work out for myself, but now that they explain it so much better and so clear and easy to understand, it's great tools for anyone who wants to get better. And always just reach out to various people in whatever discords you're in who do know what they're doing, and they're likely to be more than willing to help you get better, because you can do it how I did it, which was you know, I had some good people helping me, but there was a lot of trial and error as well. But anything you can do to shortcut that time and get better quicker is always good. And despite the fact that we all enjoy sim racing, it's definitely more enjoyable when you're going faster, you're more consistent, you're having better results. So, yeah.
I don't think I could have said any better myself, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so that's my little soapbox rant.
I think it was absolutely perfect. I think that is an appropriate place to wrap this up and call it a day.
Very good.
Yeah, so thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I greatly appreciate it. It means the world to me that I get to interact with someone as talented and invested in the sim as you are, because it's pretty rare for me to find someone that has the same level of drive and desire that I have on the sim, which is borderline obsessive at some points, but I understand it. And the fact that you can take all this information and process it and put it into words where people can be encouraged by it and want to learn and want to get better, I think that's just the best thing in the world. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Not a problem. Yeah, it's definitely been good getting to know you as well, and definitely helped me with some tips and tricks in relation to the oval side, and also just in terms of iRacing itself. So yeah, happy to be here.
Good. I'm glad. I'm sure there will be many more great battles along the way, and hopefully I can be a small part of helping you improve on that oval and tick off some more of those cars and tracks.
Awesome. Cheers, Justin.
Thank you. I hope you all enjoyed that so much. It was very beneficial, I hope, and entertaining, and showing you that anything is possible in sim racing, especially when you have friends and the right tools to help make progress. Thank you all so much. Please leave some comments, down below to both congratulate Karl on this incredible accomplishment and continue to give him encouragement as he finishes up these last few cars and tracks on his list. And feel free to leave any questions down below that you may have, and either he and I will answer as many of them as we can and give you feedback if you have anything about iRacing or just questions about sim racing in general. I'm sure we're both more than happy to provide our thoughts and our feedback with our wealth of experience and hopefully make you a better and a happier iRacer and enjoy the sim as much as we both do. So thank you so very much to Karl for your time and your contribution today. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and until next time, as always, bye-bye.